Hello everyone and a massive welcome to the channel. So because of the recent news from Blackpool Pleasure Beach about Valhalla opening up this April for technical rehearsals, I thought that this would be a really good opportunity to just talk about the ride and why I love it so much. My parents would always take me to the Pleasure Beach. Over the years, that was the theme park that we went to the most. It's the theme park that I have most memories there. I always remember us all going to the Pleasure Beach as a family, and I remember looking at Valhalla, standing outside looking at Valhalla and thinking to myself, it just looks awesome. It looks like such an awesome ride, but my God, it also looks absolutely terrifying. And I remember each time we would go to the Pleasure Beach when I was a kid, my parents would always measure me to see what rides I was tall enough to go on. And sometimes when it came to the measuring me to go on Valhalla, I would sort of bend my knees a little bit, sort of thinking to myself oh my God, this ride looks terrifying. Please don't say I'm tall enough to do it, just to sort of make myself a little bit smaller. But the thing is with Valhalla was that even when I was a kid, I sort of had this weird fascination with Valhalla. There was part of me that was absolutely terrified, didn't want to go on it. Oh my God, I'm pooping my pants. And then the other part of me was this ride looks really, really awesome. And I would hear my mum talk about it. She's a massive fan of Valhalla too. And my mum would talk about it and she'd talk about how amazing it is, all the effects that are inside and just how awesome the ride is. And I would be intrigued and curious, but also I'd be pooping my pants. Just a couple of really weird memories with Valhalla when I was a kid. My auntie went on it with my mum one time, and it actually gave my auntie a nosebleed. All the fire just gave her a nosebleed. And I just remember, I still remember that trip. And I can't even remember how old I was, but I can just remember my mum and my auntie coming off the ride, and my auntie's like, "It gave me a nosebleed, Valhalla gave me a nosebleed." And I was like, what on earth? What goes on in this ride for it to give my auntie a nosebleed? It's just one of those weird random memories that I have as a kid. But one day I was brave enough to do it, and I remember my first ride on Valhalla like it was yesterday, you guys, because my God, looking back at it now, I can laugh. But honestly, my first ride, I was absolutely terrified. So my mum was sat in the front row of the boat with my cousin, and me and my dad were sat in the row behind, so the second row of the boat. And I just remember getting in the boat and just thinking, oh my God, are you ready to do this? And I just remember clinging onto my dad for dear life throughout the whole of the layout. I was literally pooping my pants big time, you guys. And I still to this day remember getting off the ride, and I remember going to look at the on-ride photograph, and literally I was like this, or something very, very similar to that. I was absolutely terrified. And my parents asked me oh, I'm so proud of you, Danielle, for doing that. Would you go on it again? What did you think? And I said to them I don't know about that, you guys. I don't know about doing that again. Obviously, since then, I've been on the ride many, 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 many times, and I love this ride. But the thing is, you guys, I think that is one of the reasons why I love Valhalla as much as I do, because it genuinely is the only ride that I've ever been on in my whole life that still terrifies me. No matter how many times I go on it, I always get goosebumps, okay? And you know that when a ride gives me goosebumps, it is a very, very special ride, because only few rides give me goosebumps to begin with. But for me, that's what I think roller coasters are there to do. So it's doing its job, in my opinion, And yeah, you're meant to be nervous, but you're meant to be intrigued. To me, roller coasters, riding roller coasters, going to theme parks, it's all about pushing yourself to your limits a little bit and pushing yourself to do something that you might be absolutely terrified of doing. And Valhalla is definitely a case for me. There's something about that ride that just still makes me feel uneasy all these years later. I don't know what it is. And I think another reason why I love Valhalla so much is just because even before I went on the ride as a kid, I was always infatuated with the ride. I was always hearing what my mum would say, and about the ride, and I always thought to myself, like, wow, fire in a ride, and like the water effects and the fire effects and the ice room and all the other effects that Valhalla is really well known for. So I've always been intrigued about all the different elements that make up Valhalla and how it works. I know in some of the ride's later years, before it went down for this major refurbishment, it was looking worse for wear. It was desperately in need of some TLC, but I still was like able to look past that. Obviously it was a shame that it was looking so run down before its refurbishment, but to me it was like still mind-blowing. We all have our different thoughts and feelings about rides and attractions and roller coasters, and that's totally fine, but for me Valhalla is a very, very special attraction, and it always will be. The music, the old music, we've not heard the new music for Valhalla yet properly, but the old music before it went down for its refurbishment that they used, it was absolutely epic. So yeah, I mean, do you love Valhalla as much as I do? What memories do you have on the ride? Let me know in the comment section down below. I thought it was a great time to do this video with the recent announcement. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave this video a big thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.